The blood is the wrong color. You notice it before you understand why it frightens you. Too dark, too thin, spreading faster across the straw mat than it should. Outside, rain hammers the paper window. Inside, the air is thick with tallow smoke and the iron smell of birth gone wrong. The woman beneath your hands has stopped screaming. That silence is worse than the screaming ever was. Her mother-in-law kneels in the corner, knuckles white around a small wooden Buddha, lips moving without sound, bargaining with something unseen. No one looks directly at you, but every breath in the room is waiting on you. Your hands are inside the dark, searching by feel alone for a foot, a shoulder, anything that tells you which way this child is trying to leave the world. You count your own heartbeat so you don't have to count hers. Behind the wall, a man's voice rises and paces, the husband, forbidden to enter. No man may see this. This room belongs only to women tonight, and tonight, it belongs to you. Your fingers find the foot. You begin to turn the child, and somewhere behind your ribs, you begin, as always, to pray that your hands remember more than your fear does. No one ever asked if you wanted this life. It found you the way it found your mother, and her mother before that, passed down hand to hand like the bronze hook and bone-handled scissors wrapped in your cloth bag. You were 11 the first time she let you hold a newborn, still slick and silent, willing it to breathe before her eyes told her it was already too late. You were 13 the first time you watched a woman die beneath your own fingers, and learned that grief, in this work, must wait until the door is shut behind you and no one can see your face. You live in a market town somewhere south of the great river, in an age no one around you bothers to name aloud. They simply call it now, the way all people do, never imagining it will one day have a number attached to it in someone else's history book. The roads are packed earth, rutted by cart wheels. Silk looms hum behind shuttered windows from before dawn until dark. Far away, in a city you will never see, an emperor rules over provinces he will never visit either. Beneath him sits a magistrate. Beneath the magistrate, the gentry families whose gates you are permitted to pass through, but only the side gate, never the front. You are called Wenpo, the midwife, necessary, untouchable. You carry life across the threshold of this world with your bare hands, and in the same motion, you carry something the household considers unclean. After every birth, you wash in vinegar and salted water before you may set foot inside a temple. You do not eat at the family table, even when you have just saved the family's only hope of an heir. You are paid in rice, in bolts of plain cloth, sometimes only in a murmured word of thanks at the gate. Coin, you have been told more than once, is for hands that have not touched blood. Your days have no shape of their own. They take whatever shape another woman's labor gives them. You wake before the rooster does, not from habit, but from dread. A servant boy is already pounding on your door, sent running from a household 2 villages over, breath ragged, face pale. You rise without a word, because you have learned that questions only waste the time a laboring woman does not have. You strip the bedclothes from your own sleep, fold your bag's contents by feel in the dark. Dried mugwort to slow bleeding, motherwort to start it when labor stalls too long, the hook for a child that will not turn on its own, boiled cloth strips rolled tight and clean. You have packed this bag so many times your hands no longer need your eyes. You walk. Always you walk, sometimes for an hour through fields still black with night, your sandals soaking through with dew, your heart already rehearsing every birth that has gone wrong before, because every birth might be the one that goes wrong again. At the gate, you are met not by the father, but by the senior woman of the house, his mother, his aunt, whoever holds the authority of that household's women. You will not speak to the father directly tonight, nor any night. That is not your place, and you have learned, slowly and painfully, never to forget your place, even in the one room where you alone know what must be done. If the mother lives and the child lives, you are paid before sunrise and forgotten by midday. If either one dies, you are remembered for years. One birth gone wrong, one grieving husband looking for somewhere to put his rage, and the whisper begins that yours are death hands, that you are cursed, that no respectable family should let you near their women again. You have seen it happen to others. An older midwife in the next town, blamed for a stillbirth that was never her fault, beaten by the husband's brothers at her own door, her instruments thrown into the well so no other family could ever be poisoned by her touch. No magistrate took her case. A midwife has no name worth defending in a court of law. So you carry it all in silence, the exhaustion that never fully leaves your bones, the small daily humiliations of being needed and despised in the same breath, the weight of knowing that your worth is measured only by outcomes you cannot fully control. You learn to read a room of frightened women the way scholars are taught to read the classics. Who has lost a child before and is bracing for it to happen again. Who has been told plainly that this baby must be a son or she will be sent home to her own family in disgrace. Who is too young for any of this and is doing it anyway because no one asked her either. Sometimes, quietly, in ways no one will ever record, you help where help was never meant to be given. A girl married too young, too frightened, weeping that she is not ready to become what this house demands of her. You find small reasons to delay, to wait one more day, to let her keep, just a little longer, the parts of herself that marriage has already begun erasing. No one will ever thank you for this. No one must ever know you did it at all. The night that changes you arrives in autumn at the side gate of the magistrate's own residence. His son's wife has been in labor since the previous morning. By the time you arrive, her strength is already failing, her cries thin and hoarse. The child is turned wrong. You feel it the instant your hands enter the dark. The same dreadful wrongness as that very first storm-soaked night. Except this time the woman watching you with folded hands is not a worried mother-in-law from the market street. She is the magistrate's own mother, and she tells you plainly, without raising her voice even slightly, that this family has waited 3 years for an heir, and that if both mother and child are lost beneath this roof tonight, someone will be made to answer for it. She does not say your name. She does not need to. You already know whose name that will be. You have a choice with no good shape to it. Turn the child by hand now, risking a tear that could kill the mother where she lies bleeding, or wait, and risk losing them both to exhaustion before the night is through. There is no physician coming for a woman's labor. There is no one above you in this room to ask. There is only your own 2 hands, and the small, terrible authority you have spent your whole life being denied, now somehow yours alone to hold. For one breath, you consider simply telling them it is already too late to try, that nothing more can be done, that you tried and failed, and walking out before anyone can blame you for what happens next. No one in that room could prove otherwise. It would be so much easier to fail quietly than to risk failing loudly. You do not do it. You choose to turn the child. The mother's scream tears through the paper walls into the courtyard, and beyond them, her husband goes utterly silent, as though he has just heard his own fate decided without him. Your fingers find the shoulder, then the curve of a small skull, and the child slides free into your waiting hands, still, gray, unmoving, unbreathing. You do exactly what your own mother taught you, the same motions your hands have repeated 100 times before. You clear its mouth. You rub its small chest in quick, hard strokes, willing warmth and breath into it the way you have willed it into a dozen others before, some of whom answered, and some of whom never did. This one answers. A thin, furious wail fills the room, and the magistrate's mother lets the wooden Buddha slip, forgotten, from her hand. No one thanks you by name. The old woman presses a parcel of silver into your palm, wrapped in plain cloth so that no passing servant will see exactly what changed hands, and tells you, gently but firmly, to leave before the household wakes, before anyone outside this room has to be seen needing a woman like you at their gate. You will do this work for 30 more years. Hundreds of births will pass through your hands before your hands grow too unsteady for this trade. Sons who will grow into officials, daughters who will become someone else's burden and someone else's joy, and a handful you carry quietly for the rest of your life, who never drew breath at all, and whose names you alone will ever remember, because no household ever bothered to write them down. No record will hold your name either. Not in the family registers, not in the local histories, not in any scroll a future scholar might one day unroll to learn who it truly was that turned the child, who staunched the bleeding through the longest nights, who sat in the dark with women whose names history chose to keep, while quietly forgetting the hands that kept them alive long enough to be remembered at all. Somewhere tonight, in a small room behind paper walls, another woman is screaming, and another pair of hands is already inside the dark, searching by feel alone, the way yours always did. No one will remember her name either,